welcome back. In last video, we talked about the first part of this development 101 for ontology. Is we explain to you the 7 steps for making one ontology. For this video, I will try to talk about the 5 summarized key questions when we developing our ontology. And I hope through those summarized statements, we can together internalize those key considerations. As I mentioned in the earlier video, for making our ontology is our kind of the practice to make our knowledge base. But for human beings, to summarize the knowledge is not have our clear good and bad approach. So that can only be our the more efficient way, or more easier to be understood, or more clear, or sometimes it's a more beautiful way. So how we can answer those questions will be depending on the different real situation on your ontology practice. These 5 questions I digest from this chapter 4, defining classes and class hierarchy, and also the later chapter. Before we have those questions, you need to ensure the class hierarchy is correct. So this is kind of our the tactic of making the ontology. So I don't treat that as the key question, but that is the skills that you need to read. Like you need to understand what is the superclass, what is the subclass, and what this means for the transitivity of the relation and the evolution of the hierarchy. And how to make our good class names and avoid class cycle. So that is the kind of the good practice that we can have. And also, according for the class sibling, you may have the disjoint or those class for your hierarchy. But then it's coming to this one. So it's the first key question. Let's always be the questions you should ask yourself along with your ontology building is how many is too many, or how few are too few. So it's no clear. The OC is no hard rule for the number of the direct subclass that our class should have. Is this 5 is too many, or is the 7 is too few? However, is many well-structured ontology have between 2 and a dozen direct subclasses. So the author of this book gave us these 2. I should say the recommendation. So, but this I said is no hard rule. So just try to see is you can first create our class, then you can have a way that is you need to classify your class into the different subdomain. Then at that time you need to create some subclass. So if a class has only one direct subclass, then definitely people may treat that as too few, because if just one under another one, so possible is this 2 can be related or can be exchanged each other, because you don't separate the superclass concept into multiple sub-concepts. So at least you should have 2. So that is the normal common sense. But if there are more than dozen or 12 or around dozen subclasses for a given class, then that's rest of the time is too many. The too many means is also that is similar like our the company or corporate organization structure. So if you have a manager, even you have a very lean organization, but if a manager manage more than dozen the employees, maybe at that time is a good trigger that you should have or another the management layer under the manager. So that is this manager should be treated as a director. Then he can lead 2 or 3 managers, and these every managers have 3 or 4 employees. Then you gradually make those hierarchy of your organization. That's the similar the concept for class, superclass, and subclass. So class to the subclass or superclass to the class. So you should start to consider additional intermediate category. So that is just our reference approach. So like this way. So if in the left is if you have red burgundy is just one subclass, then maybe you should create another one. So then that will be a better way to separate or make the further layer under this class. And if you have one, you just have this lean layer. It's more than 30 or more, even more. It would be good is you can start to put is some ones should belong to white one, and even is within white one you can have some middle layer of the classes. So that is one first question. So because when you start a new the ontology, you are starting to create class. Then once you finish creating the more than 10, then try to think every step is whether it's the time you need to separate or you need to make a hierarchy and grouping your classes. So that's the first questions that we should have our understanding. And 4.3 mentioned the multiple inheritance. That is just a feature. So it's allow you have one class, have a multiple superclass, or the one class, many class have a same subclass. So that is not our the issue because once you have that, is this subclass will inherit the properties from the multiple the superclass. And then the second key question I document here is when to introduce a new class or when not to introduce a new class. So sometimes those are the hardest decision to make during modeling. So on this, it's hard to navigate both an extremely nested hierarchy, because if you have too many layers, it gives people a difficulty to go to your knowledge points. Or if it's a very flat, that is too few classes and with too many information. So that also are difficult way to navigate. So the practice suggestion is has these 2 parts. I put that is first is when you it's better you create a subclass. Is first is have additional property that your parent or superclass doesn't have. So that is the way you need to consider is whether you need to describe one layer of the class with something or some property different to your superclass. At that time is if you don't create a subclass, then you cannot make that distinctions. Secondly is the restriction is the difference from those subclass of the superclass, because you want to grant different restriction criteria. And the third is to participate in different relationship than the superclasses. So first is the different property, additional property or less property. Secondly is the different restrictions. Third is the different relationship. And also classes in terminological hierarchy do not have to introduce the new property. So those are another way that we need to care about. And next question is our new class or our property value. So because sometimes this is not easy to decide. Is maybe you create our new class, or you can use create a property name, property value to the existing class. So that part is also we have some the suggestions, and there's also no good and bad the practice. But let's see. So this condition, if the concept with different slot value becomes a restriction for different slot in other classes, then we should create a new class. Because if you don't create a new class, you only use this the concept those values, you are not able to distinguish distinguish or make that differentiation. Because we represent the distinction in a slot value. And if our distinction is important in a domain, and we think of the object with different value for the distinction as different kind of the object, so not value, so then we should create a new class for the distinction. So that is the second suggestion or second reference criteria. And also is a class to which an individual instance belongs should not change often. So because it's that is also the good practice is you can change the property name, property value. That is not our big the impact. But if you change our class, because class can have the parent class, superclass, have the subclass, and they have the inherent relationship in the hierarchy. So change a class very often will hugely impact your ontology structure. So carefully choose our class when you want to create. And once the class is created, try to keep those class structure as stable as possible. It's not means you cannot change, but if you are able, try to keep that not so often to change. So that is this question. You need to distinguish what are the classes proper, or is a property name, property value is more proper. And then the next question is whether you need to create this new element as an instance or as a class. Because the deciding is whether a particular concept is a class in the ontology or individual instance, depending on what the potential application of the ontology are. So it's also, in short, is these two reference criteria. So first is your individual instance are the most specific concept represented in the knowledge base. So at this the context you can create our instance. And if our concept form our natural hierarchy, then we should represent them as our class. So that is the distinguish because individual is just the specific concepts that is or you normally like the object-oriented programming language is instance is just you make an instance of our class. That is a similar the concepts, but for the class in the ontology, they have the kind of the unique ways because within an ontology, unlinked class can be arranged in a hierarchy structure. A knowledge representation system do not have our notion for instance to have the hierarchy. So which means you don't allow to have a super instance, and a sub-instance hierarchy. So that is also a useful way to help you decide whether it's an instance or a class, because if you have some concept and you may have this concept hierarchy, you can make the sub-classification, then that these two layers should both be the classes. But again, there's no the black and white criteria. So sometimes in my practice, is also happened is have to change later on, because in early phases, I feel is create this layer as an instance of the class is enough. But later on is when you have more knowledge for your ontology, then you can start to think about, I need to describe more domain of the knowledge for such kind of these concepts. Then I need to have a split into the different layer. That at that time is also possible ways you need to convert the instance to a class. That maybe is a waste of the time, but sometimes that can be happened inevitably, because you need to expand your knowledge. So that is the way is try to think about as early as possible, and that will serve your the structure of your ontology in the better way. Last but not least, the question is try to limit your ontology scope. The ontology should let's see, so should not contain all the possible information about the domain. You do not need to specialize or generalize more than you need for your application, because people can not be the specialized for the complete knowledge, but in the defined time frame is you need to achieve some specific objective. Then as long as your ontology or domain of your knowledge for your ontology is sufficient to serve your objective, that is the good enough scope or for your ontology. And your ontology should not contain all the possible properties and distincts among classes in the hierarchy. That's not necessary. And again, the ontology or the ontology, this all ontology language actually is follow the open world assumption. So that means is if you don't have these properties, is you miss, you don't get those certain information. It's not means it's invalid. It just means it's missing somewhere, and somewhere outside your ontology still have those correct information. So that is the philosophy for ontology. So you need to keep your scope in the limited way, and then you can achieve your ontology with the managed scope, managed domain. So those are the 5 key questions I want to share with you from this ontology development one-on-one. So I hope is if you got time is you can read this one-on-one. So I already put this document here in this the subfolder. So you can get this information, and then this for later chapters, some the screens, some the explanations may not be valid. until today. So the tools, I think we focus on the Protege. When the author write this is Protege 2000 version, but now it's a 5.6.3. So the tool is also evolved quite fast. So let's focus on the Protege. I hope you can also internalize these documents to be as your weapon when you want to develop our ontology, and try to internalize at least these 5 key questions I digested for you. So that conclude for this development 101. And I may take some more videos later on for within this series to make more the topic on how to use the Protege and how to use this tool to build our well-structured ontology, and give you some more recommendations and suggestions. And until now, I think we conclude the enough the basic concepts for the Protege's usage. Hope you also feel comfortable to use Protege as the tool. And if you have any questions, I'm welcome to get those in the comments, or you can drop me your email. I try to reply as soon as possible. So thank you again for watching the video until now. See you in the next video.